Taehyun stood in the shadows of the grand hall, his eyes scanning every corner. This was his job. Watch, protect, stay quiet. He had been a soldier once, fighting in humanity's first war against aliens. Now he was a guard for Earth's diplomats. The work was boring, but it paid well. The hall was massive, bigger than any building on Earth. Lights hung from the ceiling like captured stars. Aliens filled the room. Some were tall with too many arms. Others floated in bubbles of water. A few looked like insects the size of humans. Tae had learned to not stare anymore. The humans stayed in one corner, mostly ignored. Earth had joined the Galactic Council only 15 years ago. The other species called humans the newcomers, or the primitives. Ambassador Kang Dae pretended not to hear the insults. He smiled and shook hands with anyone who would touch him. Tae hated it. He hated watching his people bow and scrape for respect. But orders were orders. He stood still and watched. Music started playing, strange sounds that hurt his ears a little. The crowd parted. Tae looked toward the main entrance. She walked in like she owned the universe. Princess Yuna of the Valestian Empire. Tae had seen her picture in the briefing files. But pictures did not prepare him. She was tall. Taller than most humans. Her skin was pale blue and seemed to glow softly from within. Her hair floated around her head like she was underwater, silver and white. Her eyes were large and violet. She was beautiful in a way that made Tae's chest hurt. But something was wrong. Tae could see it in how she moved. Her smile was perfect, but it never reached her eyes. She laughed at something someone said, but the sound was hollow. She was surrounded by guards in silver armor and males of her species who wore expensive clothes. They all wanted something from her. Tae knew that look. He had seen it on prisoners of war. She was trapped. The evening dragged on. Tae watched her move through the crowd. Every alien wanted to talk to her, to touch her hand, to make deals with her father through her. She was polite to everyone. Perfect, empty. One male in particular stayed close to her. He had black scales instead of blue skin, and his eyes were cold. Lord Corinth, Tae remembered from the briefing. Leader of the Hadean clans. Yuna's future husband. Corinth touched her arm too much. He whispered things in her ear that made her shoulders tense. Once, when he thought no one was looking, he grabbed her wrist hard. Yuna's glow flickered. Dimmed. She pulled away slowly, keeping her smile. Tae's hands became fists. He forced them to relax. Not his business, not his place. The princess walked near his post, heading toward a balcony for air. Her guards followed her like shadows. Corinth was talking to some other warlords, laughing loud enough to hear across the room. Tae did not plan to speak. He did not plan anything. The words just came out, barely a whisper, more to himself than anyone else. I wish I could save her from this circus. He did not know why he said it. Maybe because he was tired of watching powerful people treat others like property. Maybe because her sadness reminded him of his own. Maybe because in that moment, she looked so alone in a crowd of thousands. He said it so quietly that even he barely heard it. The princess stopped walking. Tae's heart jumped. He must have imagined it. There was no way she heard him. The hall was full of noise. Music. Conversations. Hundreds of voices. He was 10 feet away, speaking under his breath, but she had stopped. Her guards bumped into her, surprised. The silver-haired princess stood completely still. Then she turned. Her violet eyes found him immediately. Found him in the shadows where he stood. Found him through the crowd of bodies between them. The glow of her skin got brighter. Pulsing once, like a heartbeat. Tae could not move, could not breathe. Yuna raised one hand, stopping her guards from speaking. She walked toward him. The crowd noticed and went quiet, watching. Who was the human that caught the princess's attention? She stopped right in front of him. Up close, she was even more beautiful. Her eyes held his like she could see through him, into him, reading every thought. Tae wanted to say something, apologize, explain, anything, But his voice was gone. The princess leaned forward, just a little. Her hair brushed his shoulder, cool and soft. She brought her lips close to his ear. When she spoke, her voice was quiet, meant only for him. She spoke in perfect human standard. No translator needed. I heard you, human, every word. Tay felt electricity run down his spine. Impossible. The briefing said Velestians could sense emotions at close range, but not hear thoughts. Not hear whispered words through a noisy room. Before he could respond, one of her guards touched her arm. Your Highness, Lord Corinth is waiting. The princess straightened. For just a second, Tay saw something in her expression. Surprise. Maybe. Or curiosity. Or hope. Then the mask came back. The perfect smile. The empty politeness. She walked away, her guards and suitors surrounding her again. But she looked back once. Just once. Her eyes met his across the distance. And Tay saw it clearly this time. She had heard him. Impossibly, actually heard him. And something in her had responded. Tay stood in his post for another 2 hours, barely seeing anything around him. His mind replayed those seconds over and over. Her words echoed in his head. I heard you, human. What did it mean? How was it possible? And why did he feel like his entire world had just changed? When the reception finally ended and the diplomats returned to their quarters, Ambassador Kangdae pulled Tay aside. What did the princess say to you? His voice was sharp. Nothing, sir. She thanked me for my service. Velestian royalty does not thank human guards. What really happened? That is all, sir. Kangdae stared at him hard, then shook his head. Stay away from her. We cannot afford any problems. Do you understand? Yes, sir. But as Tay lay in his small quarters that night, staring at the ceiling, he knew staying away would be impossible. Something had connected between them in that moment. Something neither of them expected. He had whispered a wish into the void. And the void had answered. Tomorrow, everything would change. But tonight, Tay let himself remember the way she looked at him. The way her voice sounded in his ear. The way her glow had brightened when she heard his words. For the first time in years, Tay Hyun felt something other than duty. He felt alive. Tay could not stop thinking about her. 3 days passed. And Princess Yuna filled his mind during every quiet moment. He told himself to forget it. She was royalty. He was nobody. It was impossible. But he needed to understand. How had she heard him? He found Dr. Mira Shin in the human delegation's research room. Mira was a xenobiologist, someone who studied alien life. She was small, with glasses too big for her face and hair always messy. Most people found her annoying because she talked too much about science. Tay found her useful. I need information about Velestians, he said. Mira looked up from her computer screen. Any particular reason? Just curious. She did not believe him. He could tell, but she pulled up files anyway. Velestians are telepathic, but only at close range. They sense emotions, not words. Strong feelings like anger or fear. They pick those up easily, but hearing actual speech from across a room? Impossible according to every study. What if someone did? Mira pushed her glasses up. Then, either the studies are wrong, or that person is special somehow. Why? Just wondering. He left before she could ask more questions. But now he had more questions than answers. If Yuna was special, what did that mean? The answer came during a garden tour the next day. The station had artificial gardens where diplomats could walk and talk. Tay was assigned to patrol the area, while various groups toured. Princess Yuna's group came through. Her guards walked ahead, checking for threats. She followed with her attendants, all females of her species dressed in flowing clothes. They admired the earth plants, rare flowers brought from home. Yuna saw Tay. For just a moment, her glow brightened. Then she did something that surprised everyone. She walked away from her group. I wish to see the human section alone, she announced. Wait here. Her guards looked nervous but could not refuse a direct order. They stayed behind as she walked down a side path. Tay followed at a distance, doing his job. Or that was his excuse. When she was far enough from the others, she stopped. She did not turn around, but she spoke. "You can stop pretending to patrol, Tae-hyun. Come here." His name in her voice made his stomach flip. He walked forward until he stood beside her. She was looking at a rose bush. Red flowers that seemed to fascinate her. "How do you know my name?" he asked. "I looked it up. I wanted to know who would say something so kind." It was nothing. It was everything. She finally looked at him. Her violet eyes were bright with emotion. "Do you know how long it has been since someone cared about my happiness? Not my value. Not my political use. Just me." Tay did not know what to say to that. Yuna touched a rose carefully, avoiding the thorns. "I heard you because you meant it. Pure intention. No lies underneath. In a galaxy of manipulators, your honesty rang like a bell in my mind. But Velestians can only sense emotions. Most can. But my family, the royal line, we have stronger gifts. When someone feels something deeply enough near us, we hear their thoughts. Not all thoughts, just the ones that come from the heart." She smiled sadly. "It is usually a curse. I hear everyone's greed, their schemes, their lies. But you wanted nothing from me. You just wanted me to be free." They stood in silence for a moment. Tay searched for words. "About your marriage, do not." Her voice was sharp, then softer. "Please. I know what I must do. Marrying Corinth will stop a war. Millions of lives saved because I give up my own. It is my duty." "Does duty have to mean being miserable? For people like me?" "Yes." She looked at him with such sadness. "But thank you for 3 days of hope. For making me think, even briefly, that escape was possible." Footsteps approached. Her guards had gotten nervous. Yuna straightened, the mask coming back on. "Thank you for the tour, Guard Tae-hyun," she said formally. Then she was gone, swept away by her people. That night, Tae lay awake again. He felt helpless and angry. Yuna was trapped, and there was nothing he could do. The alarm woke him at 0300 hours. Emergency broadcast. Security breach in Royal Sector. All personnel respond. Tae grabbed his weapon and ran. The Royal Sector was where visiting royalty stayed. Where Yuna slept, his military augmentation kicked in. His hearing, enhanced by surgery years ago, picked up sounds others missed. Screams, weapon fire, and something else. A whisper of movement in the service corridors. Everyone else ran toward the main entrance. Tae trusted his instincts. He turned down a side passage, running fast. The service corridor was empty and dark, but his hearing caught it. Breathing, movement, someone trying to be silent. He reached Yuna's chambers from the back entrance. The door was broken open. Inside, he saw her. A figure in black armor had her against the wall. Yuna's guards lay unconscious. The attacker had one clawed hand around her throat, the other raising a knife. Tae did not think. He fired. The blast hit the attacker's shoulder, knocking him sideways. The figure turned, and Tae saw it was not fully alive. Biomechanical. Half-machine assassin. The fight was brutal. The assassin was stronger, faster. Tae had training and desperation. He used both. He dodged energy blasts, returned fire, and when his weapon ran empty, he used his fists and his combat knife. He took hits. His ribs cracked. His arm burned where a blade cut deep. But he kept fighting. The assassin made a mistake, overextending on a strike. Tae drove his knife into the thing's neck joint, where machine met flesh. It sparked and collapsed. Tae fell to his knees, pain overwhelming him. His vision blurred. He heard Yuna calling his name, but it sounded far away. Then her hands were on his face, cool and glowing. He felt something in his mind. A presence. Warmth and light pushing back the shock. The panic that follows violence. She held him as medical teams arrived. Velestian doctors and human medics worked together. Through the chaos, Yuna stayed with him, her hands on his shoulders, her telepathy keeping him calm. "You saved me," she whispered. "You foolish, brave human. You saved me." "Had to," he managed. Couldn't let them." "Shh. Rest now. I will stay." Before the drugs pulled him under, Tae heard her voice in his mind, not his ears. "Now we are even, Tae-hyun. You wanted to save me. I just saved you." The last thing he saw before darkness took him was her face, glowing bright with emotion, tears on her cheeks. For an alien princess who never cried in public, that meant something. Tae woke in the medical bay with broken ribs, 20 stitches in his arm, and a formal reprimand waiting for him. Ambassador Kang Dae stood at the foot of his bed, furious. "You broke protocol," the ambassador said coldly. "You abandoned your post. You engaged a threat alone. You nearly caused a diplomatic incident. I saved the princess. You got lucky. Security says the assassin would have triggered alarms before reaching her. You interfered with proper procedure." Tae said nothing. He knew the truth. His enhanced hearing had given him seconds that saved Yuna's life. But explaining that meant admitting his military modifications, which were supposed to be classified. The ambassador leaned closer. "Stay away from Princess Yuna. That is an order. Whatever you think is happening between you two, it ends now." "Nothing is happening." "Good. Keep it that way." But later that day, Tae received an official summons. Princess Yuna requested to personally commend him for his bravery. Ambassador Kang Dae could not refuse without insulting Velestian royalty. The ceremony was small but formal. Yuna wore robes that shimmered like starlight. She stood before the assembled diplomats and guards, her voice clear and strong. This human acted with honor and courage. "He saved my life when others hesitated. Therefore, I name him my personal liaison for human Velestian cultural exchange." The room went silent. Tae's heart hammered. A liaison position meant he would have legitimate reasons to meet with her. Reasons his superiors could not deny. Kang Dae's face went red, but he could only bow and accept. After the ceremony, a Velestian guard approached Tae. Commander Vex, leader of Yuna's protection. He was massive, 7 feet tall, with scars across his blue skin. His expression was hard to read. "Walk with me," Vex said. They went to an observation deck, alone. Vex stood looking at the stars for a long moment. "The princess has not smiled genuinely in 2 years," he finally said. "She does her duty. She obeys every rule. But inside, she has been dying slowly." "Why tell me this?" "Because yesterday, while you lay unconscious, she stayed by your bed for 6 hours. She cried. She prayed to gods she stopped believing in years ago. She was alive again, feeling something real." Vex turned to face him. "You have a choice, human. Make her smile again, or leave her alone completely. Do not give her hope you cannot fulfill. I am just a guard. You are the first person in years who saw her as something other than a political tool. That makes you dangerous. Or valuable. I have not decided which." Over the next week, Tae and Yuna met 5 times under the excuse of cultural exchange. They talked about everything. She told him about her world, how Velestians once valued individual choice before centuries of war made them embrace duty above all else. He shared Earth's history, its music, its poetry. She loved human philosophy, the idea that people could choose their own destiny. "On Velest, we believe destiny chooses us," she said. "We are born into roles. We fulfill them. That is honor. On Earth, we believe honor comes from choosing to do right, not from following orders." She touched his hand, her skin cool and soft. "Your world sounds beautiful." "It is. You should see it." Something passed between them then, an understanding, a possibility. But possibilities died when Lord Corinth arrived at the station. The Hadean warlord was everything Tae expected and worse. He had black diamond scales and eyes like ice. He treated Yuna like property he already owned. At the formal dinner, Corinth made crude jokes about training, his future bride. Yuna's glow dimmed with every word, but she kept her perfect smile. Tay sat at the human table, forced to witness it. His hands gripped his utensils so hard they bent. Corinth noticed him staring. The human guard. The one who thinks he is a hero. He laughed. Tell me, little human, do you think saving her once makes you important? I think anyone who treats her like property is not worthy of her. The room went silent. Aliens did not speak to powerful warlords this way. Humans especially did not. Corinth stood, his massive frame towering. You dare! Tay stood too. He was smaller, weaker. But he did not back down. On Earth, we measure civilization by how it treats those without power. By that measure, Lord Corinth, you are a barbarian. Ambassador Kang Day tried to apologize, standing quickly, but another voice cut him off. The human delegation stands by these words. Chancellor Hannah Park had arrived from Earth that morning, a high-ranking official sent to oversee the talks. She was older, stern, and political. But she stood beside Tay now. Her face calm. Humanity does not apologize for speaking truth, she continued. If that offends you, Lord Corinth, perhaps you should examine why. Corinth's scales darkened with rage. This insult will not be forgotten. Your entire species will meet your threats with strength, Chancellor Park finished. We are tired of bowing. Try us. It was a massive gamble. Humanity's small fleet against Hadean power could mean extinction. But Park had made a calculation. Sometimes survival meant showing you would rather die than kneel. Corinth stormed out. The dinner ended in chaos. That night, Tay returned to his quarters expecting arrest or execution. Instead, he found Yuna waiting in the shadows. She was glowing brighter than he had ever seen. Strong emotion made Valestians shine. And she was blazing like a star. You defended me, she said. You risked your life, your entire species, to defend me. He deserved it. He did. She moved closer. I have made a decision. I will not marry him. I would rather die than become his property. Yuna. No, listen. I am not asking you to save me. I am telling you I am saving myself. But I need help. I want to go to Earth. Your world that produces people who defy empires for principle. Will you help me? Tay's mind raced. Helping her escape meant treason. It meant both their governments would hunt them. It meant possible war. It meant certain death, if caught. He thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. When do we leave? She touched his face, her hands cool and trembling. You understand what this means? What we will lose? I understand freedom is worth any price. When do we leave? Yuna laughed, a sound of pure joy he had never heard from her. She pulled him close, and for the first time, they embraced. Her glow surrounded them both, warm and bright. Tomorrow night, she whispered. Tomorrow we choose our own destiny. Outside, stars wheeled through the void. Inside, 2 people from different worlds made a choice that would change the galaxy. Sometimes the bravest thing is not fighting. Sometimes it is running toward freedom instead of away from fear. Planning an escape from the most secure space station in the galaxy was insane. Doing it in 24 hours was impossible. But Tay had learned that impossible just meant no one had tried hard enough. Dr. Mira Shin helped without asking many questions. When Tay came to her quarters at midnight, she just nodded and pulled up station schematics. I knew something was happening, she said. You have that look soldiers get before battle. I need to know the maintenance corridors. The ones security does not watch closely. Mira highlighted several routes. These connect to the docking bays. But Tay, if you are thinking what I think you are thinking, do not think about it. Just show me. She did. Then she surprised him. I am coming with you. Too dangerous. I am the xenobiologist. If the princess needs medical attention during your escape, you will need me. Also, I am tired of watching humans grovel for respect. She smiled. Besides, Someone needs to document the first human-Velestian romance for history. The bigger surprise came from Commander Vex. The massive Velestian guard found Tay in the corridor outside Yuna's chambers. "I will help," Vex said simply. "Why would you betray your own people?" "I am not betraying them. I am saving one person I care about from a corrupt system." "Is that not what humans do?" He crossed his arms. "I have watched Yuna prepare for sacrifice her entire life. I will not watch her die inside, because tradition demands it." They had allies, but they needed more. They needed a ship. Captain Jay Wu commanded the human vessel, Defiant, docked at the station for diplomatic escort. Tay had served under him once, years ago. Jay was grizzled, tough, and hated politics. When Tay explained the plan, Jay laughed. "You want me to commit treason, start an interstellar incident, and probably get killed?" "Yes." "When do we leave?" Jay grinned. "I have been waiting for someone to do something crazy. Diplomacy is boring, but the night before the escape, someone else discovered their plan. Sora, Yuna's younger sister, appeared in Yuna's chambers while they prepared. She was smaller than Yuna, her glow more silver than blue, and her eyes were filled with tears. "How could you?" Sora's voice shook. "How could you abandon our people?" Yuna stood straight, meeting her sister's eyes. "I am not abandoning them. I am refusing to be their sacrifice. Corinth will go to war. Thousands will die because of your selfishness. Thousands are dying already in Corinth's mines and factories. He wants marriage for legitimacy, not peace." "I researched it, Sora. He is using us." Sora looked between Yuna and Tay. "And this human? You would throw away everything for him?" "I would throw away chains for freedom," Yuna said quietly. "With or without him. But yes, I choose him. Because he saw me as a person when everyone else saw a tool." Tay watched Sora struggle. She had been raised for duty just like Yuna. But something in her expression shifted. "You always were the brave one," Sora whispered. She wiped her eyes. "I will help you escape. But then I return. Someone must face the consequences. And better me than you." "Sora, no. It is my choice, sister. You taught me that choices matter." Sora managed to smile. "Go be free. Show the galaxy that even princesses can choose their own path." The escape began at 0200 hours. Sora created a distraction, triggering false alarms in the opposite section of the station. Commander Vex led them through maintenance corridors, his security clearance opening doors. Dr. Mira carried emergency medical supplies. Yuna wore a simple cloak, her glow dimmed to barely visible. She held Tay's hand as they ran through dark passages. They almost made it. At the docking bay entrance, Corinth waited with 20 soldiers. "Did you really think I would not notice?" The warlord's voice echoed. "I own half the security on this station." Vex pushed Yuna behind him. "You will have to go through me." "Gladly." Corinth drew a massive blade. "I will enjoy killing the traitor, personally." The fight erupted. Vex fought like a demon, holding off multiple soldiers. Mira pulled Yuna toward the ship. Tay provided covering fire, his weapon taking down 3 soldiers before it overheated. Corinth came for Tay, ignoring the others. "You. This is all because of you. One pathetic human who does not know his place." Tay dodged the blade by inches. He was faster, but Corinth was stronger. One hit would end him. "You think you love her?" Corinth laughed. "You think she would choose you over her people? She is using you to escape. You are nothing." "Maybe," Tay gasped, rolling under another strike. "But I would rather be nothing she chose than a king she was forced to accept." Yuna's voice rang out. "He is right. Corinth. I choose him. I choose freedom. And you have already lost." She raised her hands. Her glow exploded. Blinding bright. Velestian telepathic power. Pushed to its limit. Every soldier staggered, overwhelmed by the psychic force. Even Corinth dropped his weapon, screaming, but the effort drained Yuna. She collapsed. Tay caught her, lifting her into his arms. He ran for the ship. Behind them, Corinth recovered, rage twisting his face. "I will hunt you across the galaxy. I will destroy Earth itself." They made it aboard the Defiant. Captain J already had engines warming. "Everyone aboard?" "Good. Hold on." The ship launched. Valestian security vessels pursued immediately. Weapon fire lit up the void. "We will never make it," Mira said, watching the scanners. Too many ships. Then something impossible happened. The entire human fleet positioned itself between the Defiant and pursuers. Chancellor Park's voice came over open channels. "This is Chancellor Hana Park of Earth. We stand with Princess Yuna. Any ship that fires on the Defiant fires on humanity." It was insane. Suicidal. Beautiful. Ambassador Kang Dae's voice, confused. "Chancellor, you are risking war." "Why?" "Risking war. Why?" "I am choosing principle over survival." Park cut him off. "Humanity did not reach the stars to watch royalty become prisoners. We stand by this choice. Let the galaxy judge us." The Valestian ships hesitated. Orders crackled over communications. The galaxy watched. Then the Defiant jumped to faster-than-light travel. They escaped. In the ship's medical bay, Yuna woke in Tay's arms. She was weak from using so much power, but alive. "We made it," she whispered. "We did. Your people risked everything for me. They risked everything for what is right." Tay brushed hair from her face. "That is what humans do." She smiled, her glow soft and warm. "Then I chose the right species." Outside the viewport, stars stretched into lines as they raced toward Earth. Behind them, the galaxy erupted into chaos. Ahead lay uncertainty, danger, and a future they would build together, but they were free. And sometimes, freedom is worth any price. 6 months after the escape, Tay stood on a rooftop in Seoul, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and purple. Earth had changed. The galaxy had changed. Everything had changed. Yuna found him there, her footsteps soft. She wore human clothes now, simple and comfortable. Her glow was gentler on Earth, softer in the natural light. She had told him once that her people's luminescence responded to emotional environments. On Earth, surrounded by genuine warmth, she shone differently. "Thinking about the past?" she asked, standing beside him. "Thinking about how we got here." The months after their escape had been chaos. The Valestian Empire fractured. Half the population called Yuna a coward and traitor, but the other half called her brave. A symbol of resistance against corrupt traditions. Young Valestians started questioning arranged marriages. Reform movements began. Sora had returned as promised, ready to face punishment. But the public outcry was so strong that the Valestian Council could not touch her. Instead, she became the face of reform, leading the movement to change marriage laws. She sent messages to Yuna every week now, telling her how their world was slowly healing. "Sora says they are voting on the new laws next month," Yuna said. "If they pass, no Valestian can be forced into marriage anymore. Your sister is incredible. She learned from example." Yuna smiled. "You showed us that one person's choice can inspire millions." Lord Corinth had tried to launch a revenge war against humanity, but his own clans removed him from power, embarrassed by his obsession. The Hadean people opened diplomatic talks with Earth instead, seeking allies rather than enemies. Meanwhile, humanity's reputation had transformed overnight. Chancellor Park's gamble paid off. Other species respected Earth's willingness to stand by principle over survival. 3 new alliances formed. Trade agreements followed. Earth went from ignored newcomers to respected members of the Galactic Council. Ambassador Kang Dae became the most famous human diplomat, touring the galaxy. It was ironic. Considering he had opposed the rescue, he took credit for Earth's new bold diplomatic strategy in every interview. Tay found it amusing. "Have you heard from Vex?" Tay asked. He sent a message yesterday. The human military wants him to train special forces in Velestian combat techniques. He accepted. Yuna laughed. He says Earth soldiers are stubborn and reckless, which means he loves them. Commander Vex had chosen exile to stay with Yuna. He could never return to Velest without facing execution for treason, but he seemed happy on Earth, training warriors and eating Korean barbecue, which he claimed was the greatest human invention. Dr. Mira ran the new Velestian Cultural Institute in Seoul. She taught humans about alien biology while learning Earth science. Her dream of documenting the first human-Velestian relationship had expanded into writing a book about cross-species understanding. Publishers were fighting over it. Captain Jae Woo got promoted to admiral for his decisive action in diplomatic crisis. He still commanded the Defiant, now flagship of Earth's diplomatic fleet. He visited Seoul monthly, always bringing Tae expensive alcohol and terrible jokes. But despite all the political success, Yuna struggled sometimes. Tae saw it in her quiet moments. She missed her home. She missed her sister. She missed the crystal gardens of her palace and the songs of her people. "I am sorry this is not what you are used to," Tae said quietly. Yuna took his hand. "Do you remember what I told you on the station? That Velestians believe destiny chooses us?" "I remember. I was wrong. Or perhaps I misunderstood." She squeezed his hand. "Destiny gave me a role, but I chose what to do with it. I chose freedom. I chose you, and every morning I wake up on this world, I choose it again. Even on the hard days, especially on the hard days." She turned to face him, her violet eyes bright. "Do you know what makes it worth it? Not just freedom from duty. It is freedom to love without conditions. To build something new, instead of inheriting something old. To be seen as Yuna, not Princess Yuna." Tae pulled her close. She fit against him perfectly, her cool skin against his warmth. "Your mother invited us to dinner again," he said. Yuna laughed. "She is determined to teach me every Korean recipe." Tae's family had adopted Yuna completely. His mother treated her like a daughter. His father taught her to play traditional instruments. His younger brother asked endless questions about space travel. They saw her as family, not alien royalty. And that meant everything to her. The sun finished setting. City lights came on below. Thousands of homes filled with humans living their lives. Above, stars appeared. And among them, alien ships, traders, diplomats, tourists. Earth had truly joined the galaxy. "The Velestian Council sent another message," Yuna said carefully. "They offered me a position in the new government, ambassador to Earth. I could help build bridges between our worlds." Tae's chest tightened. "You should accept. Only if you want me to stay." "Yuna." "No, listen." She touched his face. "When I left Velest, I thought I was running away. But I was running toward something. Toward choice. Toward you. That only matters if you want this too. If you choose me every day, like I choose you." Tae looked at the woman who had given up an empire for freedom, who learned to make tea the human way and laughed at his terrible jokes, who glowed brightest when they watched movies together or walked through markets, who was brave enough to rebuild her entire life for a chance at happiness. "Tell me again, Tae-hyun," she whispered. "What do you want?" He remembered whispering in that grand hall, never expecting to be heard. That quiet wish that changed everything. "I want you to be happy," he said clearly. "I want you to be free. And if you choose me in that freedom, I want to spend every day earning that choice." She kissed him then, her glow brightening until they were surrounded by soft blue light. When they pulled apart, she was smiling wider than he had ever seen. Then, "Keep talking, human. I will keep hearing you." Above them, stars wheeled through the darkness. Two worlds growing closer. A galaxy watching to see what happened when a princess chose a guard and freedom over duty. 5 years would pass. They would have a daughter. The first human Velestian child. Beautiful and brilliant. Sora would become empress and modernize the entire Velestian empire. Vex would train peacekeepers who served justice over politics. Dr. Mira would win the Galactic Science Prize. Earth would become a center for cross-species cooperation. But all of that started here. On a sole rooftop at sunset, with two people from different worlds who heard each other when it mattered most. The galaxy learned what humans always knew. Freedom is worth any price. Love conquers empires. And sometimes, the quietest words change everything. Yuna rested her head on Tay's shoulder as night fell completely. Somewhere in the city below, someone was making their own quiet wish. Hoping to be heard. Somewhere in the stars above, the future was being written. "Take me home," Yuna said softly. "You are home," Tay replied. She smiled against his shoulder. "Yes. Finally, I am." And they were.